This is John Loughran Viewed Your Profile. This episode's guest, 2024 AMM Nexus Award winner, Marc DiBartolomeo. Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. Look at me looking all slick with my new haircut. Anyway, just wanted to start off this episode by saying that the 2024 AMM Nexus Awards was once again an awesome event. I got to read some of the verbatims submitted about the winner of the Established Star Award, who was actually my guest for this episode. He gave an amazing and inspiring speech, as anyone who was there would attest to, about some of the personal struggles that he's had to overcome, which we're certainly going to talk about. The night totally flew by, which must mean it was a good time. Congrats to all the winners, the humanitarians that were recognized, and to Maureen Reichert and Jeff Bonastelli from JAMA on their well-deserved retirements. All right, let's see how smooth we can make these jump cuts. Sorry, editing is not my strongest suit. So what's new, gang? Let's see. In sports, the Phillies have been playing great. And in an almost impossible turn of events, I actually found myself rooting for the dirty New York Knicks in the NBA playoffs, which is probably why they ended up losing. Despite my longtime hatred of all things New York sports and the fact that they eliminated the Philadelphia 76ers from the playoffs, they're a pretty likable team with three dudes from Villanova in the starting lineup, which is a Philly school. So I found myself rooting for them. I also have a lot of friends who are Knicks fans, and while I usually root for them to all rot in hell, maybe I'm getting softer in my older years. Who knows? In the world of television, I recently watched two things on Netflix. One of them was weird as shit. It's called Baby Reindeer, and it's about a dude who gets stalked or something. It's pretty dark, but I couldn't stop watching and had to binge all 7 episodes in a row. The other thing I watched was the roast of Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, except, of course, when he's facing Nick Foles and stupid Eli Manning, of course, in the Super Bowl. The roast was pretty raunchy, like most roasts get, but it had some interesting twists, like Coach Bill Belichick and Patriots owner Robert Kraft being there. Robert Kraft, that reminds me I need to schedule massages for my wedding anniversary. Sorry, Robert. Okay, without any further ado, I want to get to my guest. He is the 2024 AMM Nexus Established Star winner. Of course, he is Marc DiBartolomeo, Vice President, Business Development and Strategy at PRI Healthcare Solutions, a division of Haymarket. How the hell are you, Marc?
Can't complain. I want to say never a bad day, but some are better than others.
Yeah, I hear you. It's funny. I like your background. It's nice and clean. It's not like all this shit that I have. But I think I have that exact same clock that's behind you.
When we bought this house, this basement, we finished the basement, and there's a little corner here for the office. So I can't take credit. That's actually Pinterest. So I hit a home office and just did that. So
nice.
So yeah. So and then I had to put the lights here, so when you're on camera. And this was during COVID. So yeah. So had a lot of things. I got a Jason Kelsey, his speech right here, but I put it away because I didn't want to put it here because I think it would take attention if you're on a call. Everyone, wants to talk about Nelson.
Which speech? The parade speech?
Yeah, the parade.
Nice. You can't beat that, man. You can't beat that. No. I figured, it's funny. I figured you talk about Jason Kelsey, and I've, got it in here that, we have that in common. We're both big Philadelphia fans. I figured you wouldn't be wearing like a nice button-down shirt. I thought you'd be wearing like, a mummer's outfit or something.
Yeah, no, I would love. Like I said, a bunch of calls. I got back, and one ran over. It was actually a live. We're going back to try to get more live meetings, obviously. Yeah. And so I got back from Princeton. I live all the way down in Gloucester County, so I was backed up. I had another call jumping on this, so I was trying to get something to eat. So yeah, I would love to have a Eagle sweatshirt, world champ, something like that.
Yeah, it's actually, I don't know about sweatshirts right now, man. It's actually like getting gorgeous out. Thank God. It's late in May as we do this, and looking forward to a nice summer. The Fighting Phils are kicking ass.
And the weather hasn't broke yet. So it's like usually it's October, September when they're making this push, and they're winning now. So it's great.
Yeah, they never started like this. I mean, I think in
No.
93 and 76 they had
So
uh
93 they jumped out to like 12, 13-0. And
yeah.
they didn't look back that year either.
Yep.
I'll date myself. I think I was in college in 93. And then I just graduated high school.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
been around.
There's a dude I follow on Twitter, and he's a big Phil's guy, and he posts every day the number of wins they have versus like the best of all time in their record, and then he puts it against '08 and '80 when they won the World Series, and they're like 10 games ahead of where they were the 2 years they won the World Series.
I got a buddy I went to high school with. I see him, this kid, and he's like, I'll bet anyone, that they don't go to the World, they don't win the World Series, they don't go to the. He grew up in the Philadelphia area, and now he lives up in North Jersey, and he hates the Phillies. But I'm like, number one, it's a dumb bet because I think you'll lose. But number two, you're giving somebody the field, right? You have one team, so it's like it's crazy.
Exactly. All right, dude. If we talk about Philly sports any longer, people are going to turn this shit off. So I want to get into the good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, first and foremost, man, we're about a week and a half out of the 2024 Nexus Award, and you were the big winner, established star. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was like I said, it was surprising. You're there, and I see my wife walk in, and I don't know how they timed it up, and I'm like, oh, like either I did something wrong or I,
yeah.
But I didn't think she was going to come up from Gloucester County to Jersey City. I probably could wait till I got home, but yeah, so it was definitely a surprise, but honored. If you kind of think about it, it's someone actually out of our industry that knew someone in our industry text me that said it's the Heisman Trophy of our industry. And, and then I think about like, there's only, you're talking about who's who in MedCom, and there's only about, what is there, 33 winners now, 34 or something?
It's something like this was the 31st year. And I think for years, they actually, I was on the committee and they put an ad in the Healthcare Marketers Exchange, and they listed out all the winners. There was a couple of years where they had 2 winners. There was like 2 years where they had 3 winners. But still, yeah. It's an exclusive group.
Yeah. So I remember the last couple of years they had the 3 winners, right? They had the established star, seasoned vet, and then the rising star, and they kind of moved away from that. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a prestigious group, and you think of the names, all you guys like that. You guys been around. You guys are like, and some of these, guys like Jeff Bonastelli, he AMA like running that. So it's a lot of people I looked up to. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, welcome to the club. I was shocked when I won last year. It was a thrill of my life. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. So I actually saw that you had posted obviously the next day, like, I'm thrilled to have won it on LinkedIn. And I'm like, holy shit, man, this guy's got over 200 likes, almost 100 comments. Have people been reaching out a lot? And
it's been pretty cool. It's, I got into LinkedIn content, a couple months ago, and it's been really cool. Some of the people, client side, personal side, just in my network that, have commented and, said stuff in messages. Yeah, it's been pretty cool to see that there's that, whatever you said, 200 or something like that. That's pretty cool. So that's again, it's still surprising that I won it, because I remember going to my first one. I think it was like Jill Bresnick in like 2005 or 2006 who won it. And I'm like, wow, she won Rep of the Year. People voted for her. So again, it's still cool with everybody commenting, liking it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's awesome. So the ceremony was great. It was the whole event was awesome. It was a lot of fun, and I feel like it flew by. It absolutely just went super fast. But when I heard your name, I was like, good for him. And then you get up and you give this like pretty amazing speech that was pretty deep, and you got into some personal stuff about some of the struggles that you've been through, and I know you said you're cool talking about this, but you want to, there was 200 people there, but hopefully there's another 30 that'll watch this. That was a joke. But
I'll repost it.
Yeah, I think if you repost it in your network, we'll get a lot of views. But you talked about some real personal stuff. You want to kind of share that?
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, like when my wife walked in, I was surprised. I started jotting down, I got to thank this person, because again, it's not not sounding like an athlete or something, but it's really not about you. It's about your team. It's about the clients. Because you're not voting for yourself. And so I started thinking about all the great clients I work with that I've worked with a while. I started thinking about the good friends I have. Mike Graziani, Henry Yamato, Chad Holloway, the relationship I have with Lee Maniscalco. I'm trying to jot all that stuff down. If this cat comes in, we rescued a cat who's
that's great stuff.
We rescued a cat that wound up being pregnant, and so we had 6 kittens. We still have 2 more we're giving away. So anyone out there that wants a free kitten, they're beautiful. We're free to a good home. But so I'm jotting it down, and I'm like, you know what? So I'm coming up on 10 years clean and sober, and July 9th of this year, I'll be 10 years. July 9th, 2014. I remember like it was yesterday, 10:53 in the morning. I decided to make a change in my life, and I left this industry in 2009. Like I said, I'd love to say it was because I backpacked or chased some passion project, but it wasn't. I became a pretty severe drug addict, and like I said, then got into the opiates. And it's funny because I was talking to Lisa Healy. The first client I ever did a custom program with was OxyContin back in the day. Yeah, within Lisa planned that at Lyons Levy, Jen Cahill. And we worked on this pain management net guide. And I remember like it was yesterday with the product manager. He was like, hey, our sales call is, how many Percocets is John Loughran on? 9. He's like, take one of these. And now the way it played out, and like I got into opiates, and like at 34 years old, I started using heroin, and decided to get clean, and it was rough. So the reason I brought that up, and I don't have a problem sharing it. I don't have a problem with that I battle with. I battle with low self-esteem. I battle with a big ego and low self-esteem. Like, I battle with like limiting beliefs, and that I still struggle with. That's why I go to a lot of meetings, and I don't know if there's a reason you use drugs. There always is. I probably played into that factor, but I thought to myself, you know what? Thank everybody, but I'm up here with 200 influential people winning literally what they would call the Heisman of our industry, with all you guys that have come before us. And I said, if I don't raise that awareness of, number one, if you see something, say something. We have employee assistance programs, New Jersey, PA, Delaware, New York, and every program has an NJ. It's Reach New Jersey. You can call and get help. But employee assistance program. You had some people, Debbie Renner, people that are running agencies and running companies, Mike Graziani running Haymarket, Ty Blazer, and like people that are influential. And we have employee assistance programs. So if you see something, say something. Like get some people help, because it's going to save lives. And the other aspect, which is personal to me, and that is personal as well, is drop the stigma. Like when we get clean, we start to live a better life. We make amends for our past. We kind of clean up the wreckage of our past. Be a productive member. We can also be very productive employees. And grateful to Haymarket, grateful to Graziani, Matt Holland as well. And Lee Maniscalco, Chad Holloway, that said, you know what, I was 2 year clean at the time, and it said, listen, give him another chance. And I got back in the industry, about 8 years ago. And it was funny story. I don't know if you're familiar with Cento, which are like tomato products, olive oils. You'll see them in the store. It's like red. So I literally was working in a warehouse, after I got clean, was get my license back, paying off fines, all that kind of stuff that you got to do to build your life back. Was loading trucks on a forklift, and I, feeling awful about myself. I gave up this amazing career and blah, blah, blah. And a friend of Matt Holland, a client, John Tucker, had Matt Holland had went and made a call to him, and he said, "Hey, Matt came in. You want me to mention something?" I said, "Yeah." So Matt and I connected. We worked together, and got back in the industry and started working with Mike. But it was funny. On Wednesday, so I started back in June. Roughly June of 16, I guess. Yeah, June 16. So it was literally this week that I started. I remember I had to finish out my warehouse working at Cento. I left Cento on Thursday. I was on a plane to ASCO on Friday morning.
Wow.
So it was unbelievable. But yeah, so I'm okay sharing that. I'm okay talking about it.
That's great, man. I mean, that type of stuff touches a lot of people. I mean, I told you offline, I've had some family members, get wrapped up in it. I had a cousin, I didn't even tell you this, who tore his knee up in high school and started on the pain stuff, and then next thing you know, he was,
That's how quick it happens. They're dangerous chemicals. And a quick anecdote, like a little side to that, we have a coworker who's going through. She's got stage 2 breast cancer. Awesome woman, MD, works on our clinical stuff, and so she's surgery and a lot of pain, right? So she's taking the fentanyl, whatever it is. So because there's so much abuse and people get these and then sell them, she has to go to Sloan Kettering every week to submit to a drug test to make sure the fentanyl's in her system. Like, that's where things have to chill. Like, it's just because there's the other aspect. Like, just because you're clean, you still have to obey the laws, right? I'm not a proponent of like open air injection sites. I'm not a proponent of stuff because there's an education aspect that we don't need to be doing that. So, but it's crazy when you kind of come full circle that someone that actually needs it has to prove every week that they're using it and not selling it.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Well, I mean, I was inspired, I know was, by your story. I appreciate you, sharing it. Let's talk about some fun stuff now. Not so heavy. It's interesting. I'm the master of segues with these things. You say you started your thing by saying, about the Nexus Award, not to sound like an athlete, but it's about the team and everything. You actually were an athlete, right? Didn't you play college football?
I did. I played at Rowan University here in Glassboro, New Jersey. And back then, so I went to prep school for a year. I played center, and I was 248 pounds. I went to prep school in Maine for a year. It was like a 13th grade. Like you played. You played a bunch of other prep schools, like down at Valley Forge, Petty. There's Pres. I went to Milford Academy. I went to Maine Central Institute, which was, by the way, a huge basketball prep school. I was there when Katino Mobley was there. Big Country went there. Lamar Odom, Sam Cassell. Like it was really known for their basketball. We had a decent football team. So I went there. I was a center. I had opportunities to walk on at some 1AA schools, the old Yankee Conference, and at the time it was out of state tuition. So I came back and I went to Rowan in Southern New Jersey, and so I started 4 years there, and we played in 3 national championships. So we were the school played in 5, I played in 3. We unfortunately didn't win any, but I can tell you a quick story there. We actually were up. We played Mount Union a number of times where Nick Sirianni went, and they are by far they still have the overall record of wins in all of college football. So I forget how many straight wins they had, and they were Alliance, Ohio. There were a lot of guys that didn't go to Ohio State, Toledo, Youngstown, and similar to Rowan, we had guys that just missed Rutgers and some of the from Penn State, some of scholarship schools. So it was we were ranked anywhere from like 2 to 5. They were always number 1. Wow. So my last year, or my junior year, we didn't make the playoffs. My senior year, we lost in the semifinals. We were up 24-21 at halftime, and we had rushed for 300 yards in the first half.
Wow.
We wind up losing 48-24, and we had like negative 20 yards total offense. They just came out and literally like shut us down. It was, and then the next year on our recruiting, the coach, and I used to, one of my work study was showing kids around. He would play in the football room. He'd play the first half on a loop. So he wouldn't play the whole game. So after the first half, it would start back again. It was pretty fun.
That is funny, man. Now I had written down, I read on your profile that you guys were Division III runners up, 3 out of the however many years you were there, and it made me think of the Buffalo Bills. But I mean, hey, the Buffalo Bills. I mean that's a hell of an accomplishment to make it to the championship game out of. I can't even imagine how many teams there are.
It's I believe it's 24 make the playoffs in D3. And again, D3 is not like D1. You have a playoff system.
Right. But how many D3 teams are there?
God, there's hundreds. I would say hundreds, but there's at least, I would say there's 100 Division III teams. If the 70, but there's really, if you think about Division III, there's a couple conferences. There's the NJAC, which is the New Jersey Athletic Conference, which is, Rowan, Trenton State, Montclair State, Keene. So a lot, predominantly Jersey, and then there's, where Mount Union is, the Ohio Valley or Ohio, forget what that is. So that's like Wittenberg, Mount Union. That's a tough one. And then the Wisconsin schools. So it's all like Wisconsin Lacrosse, Wisconsin Eau Claire, Wisconsin Green Bay. They're all Division III.
Yeah.
We lost to Wisconsin Lacrosse one year. And then there's like the MAC, which is Widener, Johns Hopkins, Muhlenberg. They're decent. And then there is I forget what conference. There's Allegheny, Lycoming. So there's probably like 5 or 6 conferences that are really strong, and most of the teams that go to the playoffs come out of those conferences.
That's awesome, man. I went to a D3 school, and we didn't have a football team though. I went to the University of Scranton.
Oh, yeah.
Good basketball team. Good girls basketball.
So do you know Justin Freed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So his dad is the all-time leading scorer at University of Scranton.
No kidding.
Yeah. His dad, Jay Freed, played in Europe, is the all-time leading scorer at University of Scranton.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I'm sure that if my dad were the all-time leading scorer at his college and I went to that college, I'm pretty sure I would have been telling all the women, my dad's the all-time leading scorer.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I actually didn't put this in the questions, but it's so funny. I'm like hooked on LinkedIn. I'm always going on it. And I had just before we jumped on this call, went in and refreshed, and I saw that you posted one of your videos, and it was with somebody that I knew we were mutual connections with. And I was going to put in the questions, do you know so-and-so? And it's Brian Layden, who, small world, my wife and I actually got engaged at the restaurant that his father-in-law owned in Conshohocken.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. He went to Penn State. He knew my wife. And so anyway, but I think your video with him talks about like mentoring and coaching.
Yeah, so I had actually joined a coaching group, outside of our industry. It's called The Harvest. Business and performance coaching, a guy by the name of Devin Denofa, entrepreneur, real estate guy, he owns Denofa Capital. Really he's tied in with like Dave Meltzer and some of these guys. He's getting into coaching, but I picked this coaching group because there's really no one in our industry, right? It's it's all entrepreneurs predominantly, a lot of lawyers, mortgage guys, contractors, insurance guys, just people that have to kind of go out and drive business. So I got into that, and bring it into Brian. So I have 3 meetings a week, and we have a deep roots where we kind of talk about some deeper stuff. We have a networking group, and then we have a physical performance group, because it's all tied in, right? The emotional, physical, spiritual health, and that's kind of what this coaching stuff is. But and a lot of tactical stuff. But Brian, Brian Layden is by far the best. Not him and Rob Braun. I think that they're the 2 best reps and best BD folks in medical publishing and medcom. So I look up to Brian from a business perspective. We're pulling the deck together today, and I learned a couple things from him. He works on this account. He works the MLR side. I work the non-MLR side. So we were able to get out on a call, and I wanted to throw that up there because I think coaching, this guy Devin uses the term business athletes. So playing sports, I had a coach. But the most important thing in our lives, sometimes we don't have a coach, right? This is how I feed my family. This is how we have a good life. We don't have a coach, right? So it's uncomfortable. Talking about it's uncomfortable to say you need help. It's really uncomfortable sometimes, but I've learned some stuff, and I think it's good. It's definitely worth it. But Brian is definitely a business mentor of mine.
He's good people, man. Last time I saw him live, I forget when it was, but he had a big beard and stuff. And then I just saw the video. He was clean shaven again. But yeah, hopefully he'll see this. But if not,
I'll make sure he gets tagged. And I'll actually call him when we're done.
Awesome. Yeah, tell him we're talking about him. He's a good dude. I was always a big fan of his. But so speaking of the videos that I was referencing, I see a lot of stuff that I know you did at the Nexus Awards before the event even started, or during the cocktail hour. You did a video with Mandy Graziani. So how did you get into doing these videos? And you make them look really good, man. Do you have a little tripod or something that you put your camera on?
I don't know. It's
you just have the world's longest arm.
It's a lot of this, it's a lot of this. Yeah. It's so with this coaching community, a lot of these guys, realtors or contractors. A friend of mine has a basement. He's insane with this stuff. He's got a videographer, but he's got a basement waterproofing company, over the top waterproofing, Brian Walsh. And they do this content, and they talk about content, and it's doing stuff. And I'm like, this isn't going to work for me. I'm in MedCom. I call on pharma, I call on agencies. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm thinking, and I'm just, and he brings each Wednesday we have speakers that come in, and they're different guys. And one guy, they built $1 billion mortgage company. Another guy built this roofing company. And they were back to back, and they started just saying about the videos they do. And I'd watch them. And the one guy just dawned on me. He's like, it's content, it's this, it's that. He's like, just do it. You're gonna suck. It's gonna be so, and it does, dude. It's awkward. It's awkward, right? No one wants to film themselves. It's uncomfortable.
Have you ever watched an episode of this thing? It's a train wreck. But
it's good, right?
I plow through.
But the fact that you just said that, right? You're not up here like a talking head, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk. No one wants that. So I started doing it. I started seeing the traction I get, and one of the things I've realized, if I started talking about HCP level data or engagement or impressions, no one's going to like it. If I started covering content that we put out, no one's going to like it. So getting meaningful content is coaching. Last week I did a variation of a interactive sales call. Putting content out there. I've started doing fundraisers at conferences, like ASCO's coming up. Every 10,000 steps we'll donate $100 to a charity, and I actually have a charity of a woman out in California, that kind of stuff, and people like it, right? And
nice.
there's that, because I see colleagues, I see competitors, they'll post an article of their publications, and 4 people like it, and it's all 4 people at their company, right? Yeah. Just getting out there with different types of content, meaningful content, and it's worked, and I'd be remiss to say it if it hasn't led to meetings and potential business. So that's kind of the whole, building that personal ecosystem, personal brand.
Did I read it right? I don't know if I saw something on your profile, and I went into your posts, and it said you had almost 10,000 followers. Is that possible?
That is possible. I have, a little over 10,000. And
wow.
So again, this was early on, when I, got back into the industry, this LinkedIn, I left at its infancy stages, and I'm like, is this crazy? Clients are putting what they do. This is insane. If I was a product manager, I'd put my initials with no picture. This is it's like a smorgasbord for sales reps. And so I identified verticals. So I would connect with agency and pharma, right? I would connect with med affairs. I would connect with people in recovery. I would connect with KOLs and HCPs. And then I started connecting with entrepreneurs. And, so that's how I build out that many followers. So they're like different verticals. Like, so, obviously, and, when you get into LinkedIn, the algorithms and the amount of contacts, and like I took a course early on LinkedIn, you should have more contacts you have at your company, the better you rank in your algorithm. The better people see, the more contacts you have overall, the more posts you're going to get. It's almost like a LinkedIn algorithm boost. Like you could go pay for boosts and do some other stuff, but this almost boosts it like independently. So yeah, I have a little over 10,000.
That's
10,000.
awesome. Congratulations.
You
better, because I will post on my LinkedIn that this episode is up live.
This is great content. This is great content,
So I got a question. I don't think we touched on this. Obviously you went to Rowan, played football. I thought I saw, weren't you like a criminal justice or law or some kind of?
So I was a criminal justice major, and I wanted to be law enforcement, something like that. And it's crazy. So I tell two things. I did an internship down here in Gloucester County in the family court, and ready to graduate. Ready to graduate, ready to start taking civil service tests, all that stuff. And I started looking at it, and the starting salary back then might have been like $22,000. It was crazy. The same time, it was my last year in college, and I only had like 2 classes in this internship. So I literally was playing football with 2 classes. It was great. I played football my last year because I went to summer school a couple of years, and so I got ahead of it. My last year, I had the internship in like 1 class, and because I had the eligibility, I didn't exhaust my eligibility. I was able to play without a full course load. It was great. Like, so I had all this time. So I started delivering pizzas and delivering sandwiches for Gitanos in Marlton, where I'm originally from. And I was making like $1,200 a week, $1,300 a week. I'm like, dude, I'm going to take a pay cut, like to go become a cop. And at that point, I'm like, money, and so I went into sales, and I started with the Yellow Pages, because they had a training program, like selling ads door to door, to sell ads in the Yellow Pages. Yeah, you would. And it was a yellow book, so it wasn't the Yellow Pages. So you literally had to go out door to door businesses and sell ads. And then at night you have to go back and call what they. That's where Jay Freed's, Dustin Freed's dad, ran the Yellow Pages Mid-Atlantic group. So I worked for him. Wow. And then you would have to do what they call regrades. You'd have to get cards of contractors, people that didn't have necessarily a number in the Yellow book, and you would have to try to upsell them ads. So. So it was door to door, 6 weeks in class training, 3 weeks in class, 6 weeks in the field. So it was great training.
So how did you get yourself into the pharma marketing industry?
Yeah, so I had a job because pharma reps, they recruit reps out of a lot of Yellow Pages, a lot of cable, because it's similar training to a rep, like you're going door to door, you're doing this. So they recruit a lot from the Yellow Pages, recruit a lot from like Comcast. So I got a job offer with Sankeo Park Davis, and was selling Regilin, Acupro back in the day, and Regilin got pulled from the market. So I needed a job, and I answered an ad for medical advertising, and I interviewed with Ty Blazer and then interviewed with Mike Hennessy, and that was scary. I mean, I told him what I made, and he's like, I don't know how to say this without insulting you, but that's pocket change. I'm like, wow, this guy's intense. And so then they hired me at IntelliSphere, which was the old Multimedia Healthcare Freedom on MD Net Guide, and then I started working on home healthcare consultant, and that was how I got started. Then I went to Advanced Star.
Wow. It's crazy, man, how, as I'm always interested in how people got started in the industry, and then you blink, and how long you been in the industry?
So I started in, 24 years, so it's 2024. So I started in 2000. So 24 years. Yeah. And like I said, I left in the middle.
Yeah.
But that, there was the advantage to that, right? Like it was almost like a time warp. I left when you would sell an email from a conference for $1,500, right? Like some of them you gave away. And then
Yeah.
I came back. It was a lot of print and live. And then I came back and I remember hearing inventory. I'm like, inventory? What's that mean? Like, like boxes or something on a shelf. So I was able to see this industry like change.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was it. That was a plus because I could see it, go from there.
Wow. That's cool, man. Well, listen, we're coming up on, I could talk to you all day about stuff. I
Yeah.
want, you mentioned Jason Kelsey in the beginning. Yeah, I know you're a Philly area guy, big Birds fan, big Phils fan. We definitely have to hang out more because
Definitely.
that's totally me. Anything else before I let you go? I think you actually mentioned like volunteer stuff. Is there anything else you want to just say before?
Yeah, so I volunteer, I do. I'm still very active in recovery. I try. We've done it a number of times. I just, again, you get caught up in your own world. We were giving stuff out. I was giving crackers and hug drinks out in Camden. A friend of mine, Robert, owns Tre Familia down here. He was, we would get like a scoop of ziti bread, meatball, and give that stuff out. I got to do more of that. We do it around the holidays, but that and the other, I'm a father to an autistic daughter, and I'm a stepfather to a severely special needs kid. So that's kind of changed how we look at things. Because you do take things for granted, right? Like our problems, like if the IO doesn't come in, even now being in recovery and stuff, like, the weather sucks. I can't go fishing. I'm a big fisherman. I like to fish. We're down in Wildwood a lot.
Nice.
It's just pale in comparison to what, I see my wife. It's like she's a hero. Like she advocates for her son. Like we're going through a thing right now with whether it's he has to go to school with a full-time nurse, and whether it's budget or whether it's they don't like her, and he's been his nurse for 4 years. The nurse is done at the end of June. So we're hoping that they don't put him in a group nurse because he's, so it's these things we take for granted a lot.
Sure.
And he's got to have a nurse. We need a nurse in place for his extended school year. So that's a big thing with us. But, like to hang out with my family, like that with my wife. We're in Wildwood. We fish a lot. Both of us, she fishes. So,
Nice.
life's good now.
That's awesome. And we're going to be in a couple, like the end of June, Beach Blast, the big soccer tournament in Wildwood.
Oh,
My
dude.
family's going down for that.
Message me, man.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. I know exactly where it is. It's on the beach.
Yeah. hence the name.
That's the name. I know exactly. We're not far from there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been really cool. I'm, like I said, super inspired and couldn't be happier that that you won the award. And, hopefully, this kind of triggers us hanging out more and getting to know you better. Definitely. So,
yeah, if you ever want to fish, hit me up, man. We'll go fishing down in Wildwood. So North Wildwood, some of the better Back Bay fishing.
I think it was Artie Lang, the comedian, who had a book called "I'm Too Fat to Fish."
Too Fat to Fish. I remember that. Funny quick story about that. So Monique Mikowski came up to me at the Rep of the Year and started talking to me about the LinkedIin videos, and I worked with Monique, and we were supposed to go see Artie Lang. She had tickets when she was up in where she lives up in the like Belmar area or Toms River, wherever she lives. And I remember I was so messed up I couldn't make it. We talked about that in full circle. But yeah, I was a big Artie Lang fan. Howard, yeah.
The craze. So I'm a huge Norm Macdonald fan.
Oh yeah, Dirty Work.
Dirty Work, yeah. So Artie and Norm, it's almost ironic because Artie, had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
That he's outlived Norm and Bob Saget, who directed it, and just crazy. But anyway, man, I know you got to run, so thank you so much for doing this, and we'll be in touch.
All right, John. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Yep.
Wow. What a dude. Thanks so much, Mark, for doing that. And if you guys aren't already doing so, please follow Mark on LinkedIn. He posts a lot of amazing content. That's our episode for now. Until next time, just be good to each other. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.